The crowd was loud. Bright lights flashed over cages. Alien nobles sat in gold seats, drinking sweet fire wine. Laughter echoed. And in the center, behind tall energy bars, stood a girl with silver skin and dull blue eyes. She wore a white robe, torn and dirty. Chains rested on her wrists, more for show than need. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just stared at the floor. The auctioneer smiled with sharp teeth. "Lot 73, he shouted. "Daughter of Emperor Zulra, born of royal blood. Once heir to the silver throne." The crowd leaned in, curious. But sadly, the auctioneer added with fake sadness, "She is broken. She cannot bear children, declared infertile by high science. Useless to the throne. A shame, a tragedy, a bargain." The crowd laughed. Some aliens shouted rude words. Others threw small coins at her cage. One noble woman spit and said, "Even her father does not want her. Why should we?" Behind the cage, in the shadows, stood a tall alien figure, Emperor Zulra himself. He wore dark robes and kept his back turned to the stage. He didn't look at his daughter, didn't say her name, just waited for the bidding to end. The auctioneer grinned, opening bid 10 credits. Silence. Even that felt too much for a girl who couldn't produce heirs. 5 credits. The auctioneer tried. 3. Still silence. Then a voice spoke. "I'll take her." Everyone turned. In the back, standing quietly, was a human man. He wore a dirty jacket, boots covered in oil, and a tired face. His name was Carter. A single dad, once a war mechanic, now fixing junkyard cruisers to feed for adopted kids. He had no medals, no power, just hard hands and a heart that hadn't given up. The auctioneer blinked. "You, human?" Carter nodded. 1 credit. "That's all I got." Laughter exploded across the auction house. 1 credit. "For royal trash. She's not even useful. He'll just use her to clean engines." The emperor turned slightly, just enough to glance at the human, then looked away again. But the girl. She looked up for the first time. Her eyes met Carter's, and something flickered in them. Not hope, not trust, just confusion. Why would anyone choose her? The auctioneer rolled his eyes. "Fine, sold, take her." The cage opened with a buzz. Guards pushed her out. She almost fell. Her legs were weak from standing too long. Carter stepped forward. He didn't grab her, didn't pull the chain. He removed it gently. She looked at him, stunned. "Let's go," he said softly. "It's cold outside." She followed, barefoot and silent, through the shocked crowd. As they left the auction house, a noble whispered, "He must be mad." Another muttered, "She's cursed." Inside, the emperor stood still. One of his advisors asked, "Should we track them?" Zora answered without turning. "No, she's not mine anymore." Outside, the cold wind blew over the junk streets of the trade planet. Carter gave her his jacket. "What's your name?" he asked. She stayed quiet. "Okay," he said. "You don't have to talk." He guided her toward a small rusted ship, patched with old plates and humming low. "My place isn't fancy," he said, "but it's warm. My kids are loud, but they're kind. You'll be safe there." As they flew off, the girl stared at the stars through the window. She was free, but still scared. Why had he bought her? What did he want? Would he sell her again? But Carter just hummed a soft tune and flew straight through the stars, away from shame, away from the emperor, and into something unknown. And deep inside her chest, something started to wake up. Something strange, something soft. Not love, not yet, but something. The ship landed with a hiss. The alien girl stepped onto dry red dirt, her bare feet pressing gently into the warm ground. In front of her stood a small metal house, built from scraps and old ship parts. Smoke rose from a pipe. The smell of oil mixed with something sweet, maybe cooking. Carter looked back at her. "This is home," he said. She said nothing. He didn't ask again. As they walked in, the door creaked open and 4 little voices shouted. Carter's kids ran forward. 2 human boys, one with curly hair and the other with robot goggles. A small girl with big eyes and an alien boy with green skin and a nervous smile. They stopped when they saw her. The alien girl stood still, shoulders tense. She expected fear, or worse, laughter. But instead, the youngest child ran up and offered her a small glowing stone. "For you," the girl whispered. "It's warm." The alien woman didn't move. Carter knelt. "Kids, this is our guest. She'll be staying with us for a while. Be gentle." The children smiled and scattered. Carter turned to her. "You hungry?" She nodded, slow. Inside, the house was cluttered but cozy. Blankets on old couches. Drawings on metal walls. A few toys scattered across the floor. Carter placed a bowl of soup in front of her. She stared at it. He didn't force her. He just sat across and started eating his own. After a moment, she picked up the spoon. It was hot, soft, spiced. And for the first time in years, she swallowed food not meant for slaves. That night, Carter gave her a bed in the corner, quiet, clean, with a blanket made from faded flags. "This used to be mine, back during the war," he said. "But it's yours now." She sat on it, unsure. "You can lock the door if you want," he said gently. "Nobody will come in." She didn't sleep much. Every sound made her flinch. Every creak felt like chains returning. But outside the door, she heard soft music and a child's laughter. In the morning, Carter found her sitting by the window, staring at the sunrise. He brought her water. "Want to come to the garage with me?" Again, she nodded. At the back of the house was a wide open area filled with broken ships, engine parts, and welding tools. Carter's hands moved fast, fixing an engine core while the alien boy handed him tools. The girl watched, fascinated. She had never seen a royal father work like that. Never seen a man covered in grease smile so freely. After a while, she picked up a tool and quietly handed it to him without being asked. He smiled. "Thanks." That one word made her feel seen. Days passed. She didn't speak. But she listened. She cleaned the floor without being told. She folded the kids' clothes. She sat by the youngest when she cried at night. She was never told to do these things. She just wanted to. And then came the whisper. It was small, unsure. "Why?" Carter looked up from under a dusty engine. "Why what?" She hesitated. Her voice was rough, unused. "Why? Me?" He stood, wiping sweat from his brow. "Because I saw something in your eyes," he said. "Something sad, something strong. And because I don't believe anyone is broken." She stared at him. "No one?" she asked. "No one," he repeated. That night, the youngest girl came to her and hugged her leg. "Good night, Mama," the child whispered. The alien woman froze. "Mama?" She didn't pull away. She didn't answer. But she gently placed her hand on the child's head. Later, alone in her small room, she looked at herself in the mirror. She didn't look like a princess anymore. But she didn't look like property either. She looked like someone new. And as a soft wind blew through the open window, she whispered her own name for the first time in years. Zira, the sun had barely set. The garage lights flickered, then died. Carter frowned from beneath the old hover truck he was fixing. "Power's out again," he muttered. Zira stood near the tool shelf, holding a box of bolts. She glanced at the blinking console screen. A warning flashed in red: overload detected. Cooling system failing. Carter wiped his hands. "Kids, stay out of the garage until I fix this." But the smallest child, Leela, didn't listen. She had left her toy inside. As Carter crawled under the machine, Leela tiptoed past the entrance. No one noticed, till the spark. A sudden blue flash lit up the corner. Then smoke. Then fire. An explosion burst from the back wall of the garage. Flames rose fast, licking the roof, eating through dry cloth and fuel cans. The fire alarm screamed. "Leela!" Carter shouted. The children screamed in panic. Carter ran forward, but a falling beam crashed in front of him. Heat pushed him back. His boots skidded on the burning floor. "Lila's in there!" He shouted again, coughing. Then Zira moved. She didn't ask. She didn't think. She ran straight into the fire. Carter screamed, "Nitrogen monoxide!" But it was too late. Her silver skin vanished into the smoke. Inside the fire, her eyes burned. Her lungs hurt. But she remembered the child's tiny arms around her leg. "Good night, Mama," the voice had said. She moved fast. She crawled through the smoke, the floor hot under her knees. Sparks fell like rain. Metal groaned above. She found the toy first, then Leela, crying under a table, arms over her head. Zira grabbed her, wrapped her in her arms, and covered the child with her own body. Then, through the flames, she ran. The beam fell behind her. She didn't stop. The roof cracked. She didn't stop. And then she burst through the garage door. Hair singed, skin burned, but the child in her arms safe. Carter caught them both. Lila cried into his shoulder, coughing. Zira fell to her knees, gasping. The children ran to her, surrounding her. Carter dropped beside her. "You could have died." Zira didn't speak. Her arms were shaking. But her eyes were wide with something she didn't understand. Heat, fear, no. Life that night, Carter patched her burns with what little med gel he had. She winced, but didn't complain. "You're lucky," he whispered. "Real lucky." She looked at her hands. They were glowing. A soft gold shimmer beneath her skin. She pulled her shirt slightly. Her stomach was warm. Glowing too. Something had changed. The next day, while fixing the coolant lines, Carter's scanner beeped. He glanced at it, then stared. "No, that can't be right." Zira walked in. "Is something wrong?" Carter looked up, confused, nervous. "I ran a scan." "It wasn't on purpose. The scanner just activated when you walked by." Her face tensed, and he hesitated. Zira, you're showing signs of cellular replication, hormonal shifts, internal heartbeat variants." She stared at him, blank. He breathed deeply. "You're pregnant." Silence. Zira sat down slowly, her hands over her stomach. "That's not possible," she said quietly. "My father had me tested. I was born without fertility. My bloodline was closed." Carter showed her the scan. "Then this machine is broken. Or something impossible just happened." The children peeked from behind the wall. "Is she okay, Dad?" one boy asked. "She's more than okay," he said softly. Zira looked at her reflection in the scanner screen. Her heart raced. She wasn't broken. She wasn't empty. She wasn't useless. And inside her was life. Not royal, not empire-made, but real, human, part alien, part something new. That night, Zira stood alone under the stars. She whispered to the sky, "Why now? Why here?" And a voice inside her answered, "Because love is not science. Because kindness can grow what cruelty cannot." And deep inside her belly, something tiny kicked. Far away, on the ice-covered throne planet of Vexeris, Emperor Zulra sat in his cold palace, surrounded by silence. He drank from a gold cup, but didn't taste the liquid. His mind was restless. A messenger entered the throne room, holding a glowing data crystal. "Sire," the messenger said, "we have news." The emperor didn't turn. "Speak." The messenger hesitated. "The girl you sold. She was scanned. Off-world. Unauthorized medical readings were intercepted. There are signs she is." With child, the emperor stood up. The room turned colder. Impossible, he said slowly. She is infertile. She was tested by 12 imperial doctors. The messenger gulped. But her womb carries new life. Sire, a hybrid, human DNA. The emperor's fingers tightened around the cup. A child? From that broken daughter, with a human. He didn't shout, he smiled. But it was the kind of smile that made generals tremble. Back on Earth, the mechanic shop buzzed softly. Rain tapped against the metal roof. Zira sat on a blanket, hands over her belly. The warmth inside her had grown. Soft kicks, a gentle hum she could feel. Carter entered quietly. How are you feeling? She looked up, like I'm not mine anymore. Like something's growing, and I can't stop it. He sat beside her. You're not alone. Their fingers touched for the first time. No chains, no fear, just warmth. But peace never lasted long. In orbit above Earth, a silent ship arrived. No signal, no warning. It hovered behind the shadow of Earth's moon, cloaked in darkness. Inside, Imperial trackers reviewed the scan logs. Zira's energy readings, her pregnancy levels, the child's growth rate. One soldier looked at the data and whispered, "The child is perfect, strong, cross-blooded, a future heir." The commander nodded. "Bring her back. Alive, the child must be protected. At any cost." Back at the junkyard, Carter's security system blinked red. "Strange," he muttered. Movement in orbit. No ID tag. Zira heard him from the garage. She came closer, eyes narrowing. "Can they track me?" He paused. "Yes. If they intercepted the scan logs, they know now. They'll come." Zira's eyes darkened. "I won't go back," she whispered. "He called me useless. He threw me away like trash." Carter gently held her shoulders. "Then we run." But Zira shook her head. "No. I've run my whole life. This time, we protect what's ours." Carter smiled a little. "You sound like a mother already." She didn't smile back. She was already planning. That night, while the kids slept, Zira and Carter prepared. He pulled old armor from a storage crate, dusty, dented, but still strong. She helped him patch energy weapons, install shield nodes around the garage. He showed her how to wire the motion mines. She learned fast. And for the first time, she wasn't just a guest or a rescued girl. She was a defender. She was home. By morning, a transmission played across all devices in the junkyard. "To the human who took what does not belong to him return, the Emperor's daughter. She carries royal blood, a future heir. You will be rewarded. Refuse, and Earth will suffer." Carter shut off the screen. Zira stood tall, her hands over her stomach. "I'm not an object," she said. "And my child is not theirs." The kids watched her from the hallway. Lila whispered, "Is the bad man coming?" Zira turned. She knelt down, and for the first time she spoke with calm strength. "Let him come." Inside the Imperial ship, the commander watched Earth spin slowly below. "She is no longer silent," he said. "She has chosen defiance." Another soldier stepped forward. "Orders." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Send a squad. Quiet. Quick. No war. Yet. Bring back the girl. Kill the human if needed." But in the shadows of the junkyard, Zira was already waiting. She had once been silent, once been useless. But now she was a mother, and mothers are not easy to take. The wind was sharp that morning. Dust swirled around the junkyard as Carter loaded the last fuel cell into his old cargo hauler. It wasn't fast, it wasn't pretty, but it could fly. Zira stood on the roof, her eyes fixed on the sky. "They'll come soon," she said. Carter nodded. Too soon. The children were already inside the ship, buckled in, quiet for once. Lila clutched her glowing stone. The alien boy, Knox, held Carter's old toolkit tight in his lap. Zira turned and looked at Carter. I need to tell you something. He paused. She placed his hand gently on her stomach. It's not just a child, she whispered. I can feel it. This life inside me. It's growing fast. Too fast. Carter's eyes widened. That's not normal. She shook her head. Nothing about this is... Then the sky cracked open. 3 black ships dropped from the clouds like knives falling from space. No warning, no sound, just speed. Carter grabbed Zyra's hand. Inside. Now, she pulled back. No, they're here for me, not you. I don't care, he snapped. We're a family now. She looked at him, eyes soft but firm. I won't let them hurt the kids. The ships landed at the far edge of the junkyard. Doors hissed open. Black-armored soldiers stepped out, rifles ready, moving fast and silent through the scrap maze. Inside the ship, the children huddled in silence. Carter flipped switches. Engines warmed. Then he looked at Zyra. Plan? Zyra took a deep breath. I'll draw them away. You get the kids to safety. Carter grabbed her arm. You'll die. Zyra leaned in close. Her voice was calm. I'd die for them. She opened the side hatch and stepped out into the junkyard, walking toward the soldiers with her hands raised. But her eyes glowed. A soft golden light pulsed from her skin. She whispered to herself. He made me think I was weak, but he forgot. She raised both hands, palms forward. I am his daughter. The first soldier aimed. Too slow. Zyra's hands sparked, releasing a wave of pure kinetic force. Metal scraps flew like blades. One soldier flew backward into a wall of wrecked engines. Another reached for her. She dodged, grabbed his own stun rod, and flipped him over. Behind her, Carter's ship rose from the ground, its boosters roaring. Inside, the kids screamed, Mama, come on. Zyra turned, ran, heart pounding, but a soldier fired. The blast hit her shoulder. She screamed, stumbled. Carter slammed the ship down between her and the soldiers, shielding her. He jumped out, firing a homemade shock rifle, covering her as she crawled to safety. They pulled her inside. Leela ran to her, crying, Mama, you're hurt. Zyra held her tightly. I'm okay, baby. I'm okay. Carter closed the hatch and took off. The black ships tried to follow, but the junkyard burst into fire. Old fuel tanks, traps Carter had set. One by one, the enemy ships were forced to dodge or retreat. The old cargo hauler disappeared into the clouds. Hours later, the ship landed deep in the forest, far from cities or signals. Zyra's shoulder was wrapped, her face pale, but her eyes stayed sharp. We can't run forever, she said. Carter looked at her. Then we don't run. We make them regret coming. She nodded. I wasn't supposed to feel anything, she whispered. My father wanted me to be cold, empty. She looked at the children sleeping near the fire. But I felt more in this dirty garage with noisy kids and burnt soup than I ever felt in a golden palace. Carter smiled softly. Welcome to humanity. Zyra leaned against his shoulder. The baby kicked again, harder this time, stronger. She looked down at her belly. We have to protect this child, she said. Not just for us, but because this baby changes everything. Carter nodded. Then we don't run anymore. Zyra looked up at the stars. They will come again, she whispered. But next time, I'll be ready. They came at dawn, not in secret this time. The sky split open with thunder as a fleet of warships entered Earth's lower orbit. Their shape was sharp, cold, like daggers built from silence. At the center of them, Aelin Imperial Dreadnought with a symbol burned into its hull, the mark of Emperor Zulra. Inside that floating fortress, the Emperor himself stood before a long window. His robe dragged behind him like a trail of ice. She carries something valuable, he said softly. Something born from shame. And now from power. A commander behind him asked, "Shall we prepare the destruction code?" The Emperor stared at the spinning Earth below. "No, we are not here to kill. Not yet. We are here to take back what is mine." Down on the surface, Carter's garage buzzed back to life. He had returned to it intentionally. A trap, a stand. No one would expect them to come back here. Zyra stood in the center of the main workshop, her hand resting gently over her swollen belly. Her body now shimmered softly in the light Talion energy growing stronger by the hour. Carter tightened the last bolt on a defense turret. "You sure about this?" he asked. Zyra nodded. "They won't stop chasing us. So we stop them." He glanced at her. "You know we're outnumbered." She gave a small smile. They don't know what it means to be outharded. The children were hidden deep underground in a cargo shelter, guarded by drones and old battlebots Carter reprogrammed. The older kids had tools and escape plans. The younger ones had quiet games and a glowing rock from Lila's pocket for light. "I'm not scared," Lila whispered. The alien boy, Knox, nodded. "Because Mama's still out there." When the first Imperial dropship landed in the junkyard, it triggered the scrap field. Hidden mines exploded. Engine parts launched into the sky like shrapnel. Zyra, standing on the roof, lifted both hands and unleashed a wave of raw kinetic energy. A dozen soldiers flew back like leaves in a storm. Carter manned the turret, left flank. Zyra aimed her hands, right flank. The battle was not quiet, it was not clean, but it was fierce, and it was home. In the sky, the Emperor watched the chaos. His eyes narrowed. "That's not the girl I sold," he muttered. "That is someone else entirely." The commander behind him said, "Her energy levels? They've doubled in 24 hours. She's feeding from the child," the Emperor said. "Or the child is feeding from her." He turned. "Prepare the landing craft." "I'll go myself." Back on the ground, 2 more dropships landed behind the garage. Zyra ran through smoke and sparks, her belly heavy but her pace fast. Her hands were glowing gold now, no longer soft pulses. Now, waves of force, strong enough to tear apart steel. She lifted an entire engine block with her mind and hurled it at the enemy soldiers. They screamed and scattered. But then, a cold wind blew across the yard. The last ship opened, and Emperor Zalra stepped onto the earth. Zyra froze. Even Carter stopped firing. The soldiers behind him dropped to their knees. He walked calmly, his robes untouched by the dirt. His eyes found Zyra's. "My daughter," he said. Zyra's heart pounded. "You gave me away," she said. "I gave away weakness," the Emperor replied. "But I see now. Perhaps I was wrong." He stepped closer. "You carry something impossible." "Oh, that child inside, do you know what it is?" Zyra stood taller. "It's mine." He nodded slowly. "But it could be more. It could rule. It could unify bloodlines, end wars." Carter stepped forward, rifle in hand. "Back off." The Emperor raised one hand. Soldiers aimed their rifles at Carter. Zyra shouted, "Don't." She stepped in front of Carter. "No more blood," she said. "No more chains." The Emperor's voice dropped low. "You can't protect the child from the galaxy, Zyra, but I can." Zyra's hand went to her belly, then to Carter's. She looked at both men and said calmly, "The child already has a protector. He's a mechanic, a father, and the only one who ever saw me as more than a womb." The wind went still. Then the baby kicked. Hard, a pulse of energy burst from Zyra, knocking the Emperor back 3 steps. Gasps, the soldiers froze. The Emperor steadied himself, "So it begins." He turned. "Retreat? What?" His commander said. "She has chosen Earth. Let her bear the child here. For now." And without another word, the ships lifted, shadows fading into the morning sky. Zyra stood in the smoking junkyard. trembling. Carter caught her before she fell. "You okay?" he whispered. "Think, I'm going to be a mother soon." And far above, stars shifted, because something new had entered the galaxy. And it began. In a broken garage. 3 weeks passed. The garage stood silent now. Scorched walls, cracked glass, and broken drone parts lay scattered across the junkyard like war trophies. But inside, life moved gently. Zyra sat on a soft mattress in the corner room, her breathing slow but deep. Carter knelt beside her, holding her hand. "You're doing great," he whispered. Sweat rolled down her silver forehead. Her body trembled, but her eyes stayed sharp. The contractions were closer now. "Something's changing," she gasped. Carter checked the readings. Her energy signature was rising again more than before. The baby wasn't just growing, it was waking. Outside, the kids waited in the shelter. Lila held a blanket. Knox whispered, "Do human babies glow like stars when they're born?" Lila shrugged. "I don't think so." Then suddenly, the entire garage glowed gold. Every light flickered, and from inside, a single cry echoed. Soft, strong, new. Carter stood frozen. Zyra cradled the child in her arms, teeny, golden-skinned, with a soft light pulsing gently from its chest. The baby's eyes opened deep blue, like Earth's oceans, but glowing with the galaxy's fire. "A girl," Zyra whispered, tears in her eyes. Carter leaned close. "She's beautiful." Zyra smiled weakly. "She's everything I thought I could never have." He kissed Zyra's forehead. The baby wrapped her small fingers around one of Carter's rough, oil-stained fingers. The light dimmed gently, and the room filled with silence. A peaceful silence. Not fear, not shame, but peace. Later that day, word spread faster than light. The Emperor's ships had returned to Vexorus, but they didn't bring soldiers. They brought a message, a declaration. The royal bloodline lives. A child has been born of human and noble blood. She shall not be hunted. She shall be watched, respected. And one day, invited Carter sat on the old swing in the backyard. The baby slept against his chest, wrapped in Lila's blanket. Zyra came out slowly, still healing, but stronger than ever. She sat beside him. "She has your nose," Carter said. Zyra smiled. "She has your stubbornness." They laughed softly. Then Zyra looked up at the stars. "They'll come again. The galaxy never forgets a child like her." Carter nodded. "Let them come. But they'll find a father who can weld starship armor out of scrap. And a mother who can bend steel with her hands." She looked down at her daughter. "She's not just ours," Zyra whispered. "She's hope." That night, the kids painted a nameplate and hung it over the garage door. Home of the hybrid family beneath it. 5 small handprints and 1 tiny glowing one. Time passed. Not much, but enough. The baby named Elaru faster than normal. Her mind developed quickly. At 2 months, she could speak small words. At 3 months, she started moving objects without touching them. Zyra trained her. Carter protected her, and the galaxy watched from afar. On her first birthday, a small ship landed quietly just outside the junkyard. A messenger from the Empire stepped out. Alone, no weapons. He carried a silver box. Inside, a note from your grandfather. For Alara, no strings, no chains. Just legacy. Zyra stared at it for a long time. She didn't open it. Instead, she placed it on a high shelf and walked away. Because Alara didn't need power, she already had something greater. A family. At night, the little girl stood under the stars with her glowing stone. She held it close and asked, "Mama, am I human or alien?" Zyra knelt beside her. "You're both," she said. "You're everything." Alara blinked. "Will the stars ever try to take me away?" Zyra smiled softly. They can try, she said. Then Carter's voice rang from the garage. Dinner time. No floating the plates again. Lara giggled. The stars could wait. Tonight, they were just a family. In a home built from scraps, sparks, and second chances.